Good afternoon. It is my privilege to be here this afternoon to share a few words with you. And I'd like to stand on protocols already observed and to say that it is indeed a pleasure to be here. And I would like to thank the National Institute of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology and Shell Trinidad and Tobago Limited for allowing me the opportunity to deliver this feature address in this segment of the Shell Stream Workforce Conference. I am always excited to address tertiary level students as you remind me of myself, a couple centuries ago, of course, that I would sit where you are with great hope and aspirations for the future, as well as having many questions to ask about my future and the current pathways available. With this in mind, I commend the organizers for their initiative and the manner in which this event has been designed, which takes into account the workforce development needs of secondary and tertiary level students. As future innovators and leaders, it is my view that this conference and presentation of the Stream Workforce Rollout Report will enhance your awareness and interest in science, technology, research, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Today's event is geared towards providing you with invaluable insights into workforce strengths and potential career pathways, with a view to transforming any negative opinions you may have about STREAM. It is also important for you to understand that the labor market is evolving and dynamic, not just here in Trinidad and Tobago, but in the world at large. When the U.S. National Science Foundation originally offered STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, in 2001, it was described as an educational investigation into whether prospects for innovation could tackle real-world challenges. STEM played an important role in engineering, giving rise to numerous inventions, especially in the manufacturing industry. STEM education emerged in the classroom to equip students with the most current information needed to meet societal needs, to push the boundaries of human thought and solve problems in order to promote growth and raise the standard of living. The transition from STEM to STEAM in the late 2000s reflected the understanding of the value of arts and creativity in innovation. Further, the rise of STREAM between 2016 and 2018 placed emphasis on research and development and providing critical thinking to improve and enhance diversity and participation in industry. STREAM education is therefore the grounding needed for us to solve challenges and become more innovative. In the Caribbean, inclusive of Trinidad and Tobago, there are institutions that are STEM-driven throughout the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. Historically, there has always been an emphasis on science and mathematics. However, it is now increasingly crucial to build an economic pillar based on STREAM in order to grow the economy, enhance our competitiveness, generate foreign exchange, and equip our people for jobs in emerging sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, it is evident that technology, in particular generative artificial intelligence, is rapidly changing our education systems and labor markets. According to the World Economic Forum's Future on Jobs Report 2025, it says, technological changes, geoeconomic fragmentation, economic uncertainty, demographic shifts, and the green transitions, individually and in combination, are among the major drivers expected to shape and transform the global market by 2030, not very far away. Technology-related roles have been identified as the fastest growing jobs in percentage terms, according to the report, including big data specialists, fintech engineers, AI and machine learning specialists, and software and application developers, to name a few. Green and energy transition roles, including autonomous and electrical vehicle specialists, environmental engineers, and renewable energy engineers also feature within the top fastest growing roles, according to said report. Interestingly, the report also notes that on average, workers can expect 40% of their existing skill sets will be transformed or become outdated over the period 2025 to 2030. We recognize that as the labor market continues to transform, many of the job titles and skills that we are familiar with would undoubtedly change. As such, the interdisciplinary approach to education that a focus on stream areas affords assists graduates to position and reposition themselves for roles in the labor market as they evolve. Given that Trinidad and Tobago is an energy-based economy that is also signatory to the Paris Agreement on climate change, we must be mindful of developments aimed at promoting a just energy transition and our commitments via the nationally determined contributions, where we are focused on achieving an overall reduction in cumulative emissions from the power generation, transport, and energy sectors by up to 15% by 2030. This will mean a shift away from fossil fuels, focus of these sectors into renewables and alternatives, directly affecting the job market and skills required. Further, the COVID-19 pandemic heightened our focus on digitalization. Drones, self-driving cars, and medical procedures are just a few areas of life that have greatly benefited from the usage of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality. As such, it is no surprise that the demand for AI engineers, cybersecurity analysts, cloud engineers, full-stack developers, and blockchain engineers will continue to increase. In examining the NIHERST National Stream Workforce Development Report, which used data from leading tertiary institutions such as UWI, CUSTAT, and UTT, as well as Applied Arts of Trinidad and Tobago over the period 2018 to 21, it was observed that there was a decrease in the number of graduates in all fields of study, except for science and technology and social sciences. Moreover, the number of male graduates decreased by 2%, while the number of female graduates decreased by 11%. Still, females outnumber their male counterparts in all fields of study, except engineering. Maybe there's a glass ceiling somewhere there. What does all this mean for us as decision makers? And more importantly, for you as students seeking to make your mark in the near future in the world of work? First, the decline in the number of graduates is not encouraging, as it may have a direct impact on the number of skilled workers in the labor market, which will negatively impact economic growth. As policymakers, it is critical for us to keep an eye on this trend, understand the root causes, and to create and implement calculated interventions to address them. Strategizing the approach to STEAM education requires the development and enactment of policies with an emphasis on entrepreneurship, employability, and skills development aimed at national development with specific focus on emerging and potential growth sectors. Second, as a student and prospective employees, there is a need for continuous learning and development where reskilling, upskilling, and retooling becomes the norm. We must all remain lifelong students engaged in lifelong learning in order to keep pace with the changes in the world of work and stay ahead in our desired fields. Some reports indicate that it is estimated that people will change careers 3 to 7 times during their working life, and the average person is expected to hold around 12 jobs in their lifetime. Of course, factors such as educational level and industry can affect these figures, where persons with higher qualifications often benefit from more job opportunities. In my time as a young man many centuries ago, we had the understanding that when we work for companies like Shell and Texaco and Esso and BP and so on, that we would have one job. We would leave school, go to that job, and retire from that job. Now, centuries after, we're hearing that you can work up to 12 jobs in a lifetime. That has changed the face of the world of work significantly. Another major finding was identified by employers in the National Stream Workforce Development Report was the lack of practical experience of stream graduates. These graduates themselves identified a major challenge as not enough training and internship opportunities were being made available after graduation. I am happy to share that the Ministry of Labour has been addressing this concern through our on-the-job training program. The OJT program is specifically geared towards providing training opportunities to graduates up to a period of 24 months while they are on the job. With an average enrollment of almost 6,000 trainees, there is a constant thrust to expand the number of trainees that are placed in the public, private, and NGO sectors. This can only be realized by more employers offering themselves as training providers. I am pleased that in the past 2 years alone, the program has signed memoranda of agreement with companies such as Nestle, Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Phoenix Park Gas Processors Limited, TOSL Engineering Limited, the Telecommunication Services of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, and the Lake Asphalt 1978 Limited, in order to provide more trainee placement opportunities in areas including those related to stream. And I see a number of my colleagues from the on-the-job training program here. I'm sure you know who they are, and you can pester them with questions from now till you leave. Permit me also to take this opportunity to urge our partners in the private sector to work with the OJT program in becoming training providers to fix this shortfall so that more training opportunities are afforded to our graduates, and together we can help develop our future workforce. An important recommendation emanating from the report was the need to strengthen labor market data collection to enable closing skill gaps so that our graduates possess the skills that are demanded by industry. Specifically, the report referred to the conduct of regular assessments of workforce demand for stream skills. I am happy to report that the ministry is already pursuing this and has started undertaking a number of vacancy surveys to ascertain the demand for labor in Trinidad and Tobago. We have completed a civil service job vacancy census and a private sector and state enterprise job vacancy survey. We intend to undertake similar surveys for the protective service, municipal corporations, and the regional health authorities, to name a few, as well as continue the data collection process on a quarterly basis. For those involved in the issue of collecting data and doing analysis, those reports can be made available to you upon request. I urge you to use them. It would be remiss of me, as Minister of Labour, not to emphasize that while focus tends to be on the jobs that are in demand and will be demanded in the future, as well as the skills required to fill these jobs, we must equally focus on the quality of jobs that are created. We must ensure that decent jobs which place focus on human dignity and rights of work are promoted, recognizing that work is not only a means of earning income, but a source of self-development and self-actualization. For this reason, the Ministry of Labour continues to advocate that all workers are afforded certain basic rights, such as the right to a decent pay, right to join or not join a trade union of choice, right to a safe and healthy work environment, and right to other basic terms and conditions of employment, such as paid maternity leave. Additionally, while we generally treat our students and workforce as a homogeneous group, we must embrace the diversity among us. I draw your attention specifically to student and prospective employees with disabilities who are often placed in disadvantaged positions in the educational system and the labor market, where their disability is often equated as inability. As we all work towards people-centered development, let us do our best to create disability-inclusive educational institutions and workplaces where we can harness the real potential of our people in realizing their development. Before I close, and while we have spoken a lot about academic skills and technical skills, let me remind you not to lose sight of the importance of what is known as attitudinal or soft skills, which I believe determine true success in the workplace. These are personal attributes such as teamwork, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, and an overall positive attitude. Soft skills relates to the way an individual interacts and communicate with others, solve problems, and adapt to different situations. In the workplace, a balanced technical skill and soft skills is the recipe for success as productivity increases in environments where soft skills flourish. To the tertiary level students and young professionals before me, you are just beginning your journey. As you explore new and exciting careers in a dynamic labor market, or consider entrepreneurship in emerging creative and innovative areas, the options are limitless. I encourage you to take a leap into the future and remember that what lies ahead is greater than what lies behind. Let me urge you to be always young, never old. Don't do old. The world has never been changed by reasonable people. Every major change in the world occurred because people were considered unreasonable. When you are reasonable, you accept the status quo. When you are unreasonable, you think about things and ways to do things differently. So, as we get older, we become very agreeable. I urge you to never become agreeable. Most of the innovations that are made by people who plan for the future but live in today. So I ask you to plan always for the future, but never get old by a day, because when you start getting old, you lose something. you lose that unreasonable behavior that you have. I also urge you that, notwithstanding how many degrees you have, if you can't get along with people, you better be able to innovate and create, because that is all you'll be able to do. You will grow, not one iota, you will not get one promotion, and you will not be employed for long. So if you are in the business of creating new technology and you work by yourself in a lab, fine. But please learn to work with people. It makes a difference. And I thank you.